Hey everyone, and welcome to section 5.1, which concerns percents, decimals, and fractions. So first thing, let's talk about what is a percent. Well, the word percent literally means per hundred. So see, we look at the origins of the word: cent, century, hundred. For example, we can rewrite a percentage as the number over 100. So 42% literally means 42 out of 100. Okay, so if we want to write 50% as a fraction, we can just write 50 over 100. 75% would be 75 over 100. It's a ratio, right? 25 over 100. 6% would be 6 over 100. 160% would be 160 over 100. So in other words, anytime you see a percent symbol, you can rewrite it as a fraction by putting the entire number over 100. Okay, so what if we want to change percent to a decimal? So if we want to change a percent to a decimal, all we need to do is basically, we're rewriting this. Remember that a decimal, just a little review, we have the tenths place, we have the hundredths place, right? This is the same as 12 hundredths. So instead of, we just drop the percent symbol and we move the decimal point 2 places to the right. When you do not see a decimal point, it's the assumption that it's right there to the right of the number, of the whole number. Right, so this is actually to the left, sorry. So 25% is, we move it 2 places to the left, and that's 0.25. 6.8%, 1, 2. 0.068. 75% then becomes 0.75. 3.62% becomes 0.0362. 50% will then become 0.50 or 0.5, and then 0.4%. If you do not have a decimal place here, you just write a 0. Okay, so this would become 0.004. All right. Okay, if we want to go to decimal to percent, then we go to the right. So decimal to percent, right, 2 spaces. Okay, and then we add the percent symbol. So this is 27.27 becomes 27%. 4.89 as a percent becomes 489%. 0.2 becomes 20%. 0.09 becomes 9%. And then 25 becomes 2,500%. Okay, so let's continue changing percent to fractions. So what about if we had something like change 4.5% to a fraction in lowest terms? Okay, so first of all, okay, we can rewrite this as a fraction. We have 4.5 over, anytime you see the percentage, you can just write it over 100. But we don't want this decimal here. So how do we get rid of it? We notice that we have one digit in the tenths place. So what we do to get rid of that decimal, we can multiply top and bottom of the fraction by 10. So what does that do? So what that does is it changes this 4.5 to 45, and that's over 1,000. Okay, and then if we want to reduce to lowest terms, we can divide top and bottom by whatever they have in common. So in this case, we can divide by 5 to start. So this will become 9, and this becomes 200. And I think that's it, 9 over 200. Okay, so let's do another one. So we have 32.5% to a fraction in lowest terms. So this case, it might be easier to recall that 1/2 is the same as 0.5. So this is the same as saying 32.5 over 100. Okay, and then we do the same thing where we multiply top and bottom by 10 to get rid of the decimal. You have 325 over 1,000. Okay, so simplifying that becomes, we divide top and bottom by 25. And how do we know that it divides by 25? Well, we know that 25, any number that ends with a 25 is divisible by 25. How do you know that? Well, think about money, right? If you have $3.25, you can express that in quarters, right? 350 quarters, okay? Same goes for numbers that end with 75. Okay, so this goes into how many times? 9 times. And then how many times does 25 go into 1,000? Okay, so 25 goes into 1,000 40 times. So that's it. Okay, let's do a super fun word problem. So suppose the price your bookstore pays for your textbook is 7/10 of the price you pay for your textbook. So let's write 7/10 as a percent. So so there's a couple of ways you can do this. I'll show you 2 ways. Method 1. So method 1, we can express as a decimal and then change to a percent. Then as a percent. So 7/10. Okay, so 7/10 is literally 7 in the 10th place. Okay, so these two are equivalent. So now that we know that this is 7/10, to change that as a percent, we have to move 2 decimal places over. So that becomes 70%. Okay. All right. So that's method 1. Method 2. Okay, would be to try to write over 100. So we can multiply top and bottom if the denominator is a factor of 100. We can multiply top and bottom of the fraction to become over 100, and then we know that that's, by definition of percent, that's the percentage. So try to rewrite fraction, or find the equivalent fraction, denominator. So basically we begin with 7/10 and we want to end up with 100 in the denominator. So what do we need to multiply top and bottom by? In this case, we multiply top and bottom by 10, giving us 70 over 10, 100. And what's 70 over 100? Definition of percent, that is 70%. Okay, all right. Let's do another one. So 3/8 as a percent. Now, the 8 is not a factor of 100. So in this case, you might want to do the change to a decimal and then convert to a percent method. So what do we do here? We can just simply divide numerator by the denominator. Okay, so when divide it, you add a 0. So how many times does 8 go into 30? Goes in 3 times, right? Subtract, bring it down, bring the 0 down. How many times does 8 go into 60? Okay, and we continue. Add 0, 8 goes into 45 times. So 3/8 as a decimal is 0.375, and 0.375 as a percent, right, is 37.5%. Okay? Alright, so if you want, at this point, you can go ahead and push pause and try to change 5/12 to a percent, and then we'll go over it together. So go ahead and pause the video. I'll wait 10 seconds, and then try to work it out. Remember that if you try to work out these problems along with me, the chances of you learning the method increases by a lot. So let's go ahead and try that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and divide 5 by 12 so it doesn't go in evenly, so I need to bring the decimal up and add a 0. 12 goes into 54 times, that's 48. Okay, subtracting and adding a 0, 12 goes into 21. That gives me 8. And add a 0, 12 goes into 80 6 times. Okay, so that's a remainder of 60. 12 goes into 65 times, and that's it. So 5/12 expressed as a decimal is 0.4165, and then the rule to change to a percent is to move it over 2 spaces. So this is actually 41.65%. Okay. So again, if we want to change 2.5 to a percent, we can use this table. These are popular fractions and their decimal equivalents and their percentage equivalents. So if we have 2.5, 2.5 is the same as saying 2.5, right? So then we can go ahead and move the decimal over 2 spaces. We get 250%. So if you've noticed by now, any whole number is basically going to be like 100, 200%. Okay? Alright, so I want you guys to try these. Now you try. Go ahead and push pause. And try these. Okay, so honor system. Okay? And try these out on your own, and even if you are not sure, try something. Write something on your page. Then go ahead and unpause and we'll go over the answers. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you tried them. And we have here 35%, so by definition, this is 35 over 100. We change this to a decimal. Remember, decimal means move 2 spaces to the left. Okay, so 1, 2, this becomes 0.0634. And then change to a percent, we move to the right. And that becomes 123%. And that is it for section 5.1. Your super fun homework is 1 through 67, every other odd. Good luck, and I will see you on the next video.